First of all, why are we talking about opinion pieces? They are arguably the most highly prized of media opportunities in traditional media. Um, Rarely will you find an opportunity where you are so unfettered, unencumbered, and you're afforded the opportunity that, within reason, you can speak at length about a subject that's so important to you. It's on your agenda. It's on your institution's agenda. Um, I think the only comparable situation you could find yourself in would be in London, in Hyde Park, as well as across the UK, and I'm sure across the world. There is this place called Speaker's Corner where people quite literally get up on their soapbox and talk at length about an issue that's important to them. And I guess in a way, in essence, an op-ed is Speaker's Corner in Britain form. It's so liberating, and it gives you the opportunity to talk about something in a way that a broadcast opportunity just probably wouldn't afford, or even an old school interview, because someone will stop you and try and dictate the narrative, try and dictate the agenda, but you'll be afforded for that amount of time, for however many words you're given, the chance to discuss, at length the topic that's most important to you and your organization. And yet it's one of the most difficult opportunities to secure. Take it from two individuals who do this quite literally every day of their working lives. Engaging with journalists to secure op-eds, and secure opinion pieces is really difficult. If you look at the media landscape, whether it be high-value trade publications who operate in the education and business education sectors, or mainstream global media, you're seeing a movement away from having editors of specific subjects and specific beats that are also able to commission. You're seeing that even though they might like something and feel strongly about an opinion piece that you're offering to them, they still have to run it by an opinion desk. So it's the same small group of people, and in some cases, one, maybe two individuals who has to look, oversee, edit, and approve every single opinion piece that title publishes. And that means they're overworked, they're exhausted, they're inundated, and then you compounding the issue. You look at the fact that they have a very generalist role. They're not specifically interested or attuned to a certain subject. So you combine all those factors. The fact that their inbox is so overly saturated, as well as the fact that they aren't going to be a specialist necessarily in anything. And you just see these really high standards you've got to meet just to get their interest, because without that, you won't see your spokesperson, your expert, your senior leader in that publication. And that's just the worst thing about it, is that's just securing the opportunity. You think once you've done that, and for the vast majority of people, they don't get past that stage. But let's say you do, you think the hard bit's done, and unfortunately, no. Now the pressure really kicks in, because now, just as the standards are incredibly high of the journalist you've got to impress, so are the expectations of the person you're now telling you've got a chance at writing for a world-leading newspaper, for a leading academic outlet. You've now got to meet the standards. So that's when the fun really starts. But let's say you do get to that stage. Let's say you do get the opportunity, albeit probably a tentative one, to write something. It's usually around 700 to 800 words. It could be more, it might be less. How do you go about that? Now, to start, Steph and I aren't going to sit here and tell you exactly what to do to guarantee that you're going to get your op-eds, your opinion pieces published by every outlet. It just doesn't work that way. However, in thinking about this subject, we have identified that there are certain points of continuity. There are certain things that overlap that you see time and time again. And so what we are going to do is we're going to discuss those things. We're going to discuss those themes, 4 of them specifically. And these are things that every single person, irrespective of who they are, what the topic is, who they're trying to engage with, these are things they need to consider when they're writing an opinion piece for media. And I think it starts most obviously with having something to say. And when we say that, we mean 2 things by that. First of all, on the one hand, you need to consider what it is that you can offer that will actively improve the quality of the reader's experience. Because at the end of the day, the reader is a consumer like anyone else, and that news outlet is a provider. It's a business like anything else, and it's trying to secure repeat business from its consumers. And so what an opinion editor is looking for is not whether they themselves would enjoy the op-ed, it's whether their readers would benefit from reading it. If they're not going to benefit from reading your op-ed, your opinion piece, in a way that is unparalleled with the other opinion pieces being offered, or something that's being written by a staff journalist, because you need to remember these guys do employ people that write day in, day out for them. If you can't offer something different, something unique, then you quite simply won't get published. You won't even get the opportunity. So first of all, it starts with having that USP. That's the first half of having something to say. Beyond that, though, you need to simply think about the fact that whether you've got enough to talk about. And if you can't fill out with ease 700 to 800 words minimum, because that's the standard in our experience, then maybe an op-ed opportunity and an opinion piece isn't the right way to go. Maybe it's pursuing a traditional interview experience where you're forming part of a journalist's wider narrative. Maybe that's the way to go. So it's one of two things. It's making sure you have something to say in the context of having a USP, having a unique selling point, and it's making sure that just on a very basic level, you have enough words to fill it out. And after that, it's all about putting it together in a cohesive, in a really well thought through manner to create a really compelling narrative. So that comes down to a very simple thing: structure. A decent op-ed demands a decent structure.